Well. Welcome back to New York Sports Wicker Media. I am Wa2K99. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Before we get started today, I wanted to thank Harrison from the Take Flight Spin Fire podcast for having both myself and my pal Jeremy, Just Chaos, on the show last night. We had the chance to break the Mekhi Becton news that the injury is feared to be worse than originally anticipated. As I am recording this video, it is Tuesday morning. We are all pretty much expecting the worst. And, hey, I was taken to task for being very concerned about that, and I wish I would have been wrong. Because I would rather be happy than wrong than sad and correct. That is my philosophy as a Jets fan. I just want to see team success, whatever it takes. So I'm doing some stuff right now for this video that I planned on doing actually yesterday before the Becton news broke and everything went sideways. I did want to take a moment and talk about the depth chart, some of the things that I noticed that caught my interest. Because you know what, I don't even know why the teams have to put out depth charts sometimes because they fluctuate so often, and they're just going to keep on changing and changing. But let's talk about a few things here that stuck out to me. First of all, with the offense. I noticed they really put the rookies at the bottom of the ladder and make them work their way up. Breece Hall is running back 3 behind Michael Carter and Tevin Coleman. I have a feeling that will change by this weekend. So, if I don't think Tevin Coleman is a lock to make this roster. I still have very high hopes for Bam Knight. I really want to see him make this roster. At the very, very least, I want to see him on the practice squad. I love his return ability. I like that he has that great acceleration. I'm a fan of his. I want to see him make this roster. With all due respect to Mr. Coleman. Denzel Mims running with the 2s. I would sincerely hope so, because if you look at the 3s, you are seeing the Rashad Davises and the Tariq Blacks of the world. So if Denzel Mims is not with the 2s at wide receiver, well then what are we doing at this point? Jeremy Ruckert at the bottom of the tight end list. I think he needs to work his way back. I did find it interesting that Trevon Wesco is the 3rd running back behind CJ and then Ty Conklin. And they still seem to put Wesco up there. Personally, I have no more use for Trevon Wesco at this point. He doesn't really catch. He doesn't really block. What does Trevon Wesco really do well? Trevon Wesco to me is kind of like the Nathan Shepard of the offense. The coaches seem to love him, but nobody knows why he's there. I mean, we don't know what he does. So, but to me, I'm much more excited about Kenny Yeboah, and I'm hoping Lawrence Cager might be able to do something positive. I've also been hoping for a 4th tight end on the roster. Don't know if that's going to happen. But I think that Jeremy Ruckert should be working his way up relatively quickly. And to be honest, the less I see of Trevon Wesco on the field, the better. Outside of that, Ross Pierschbacher is the backup center. I thought it was going to be Dan Feeney. But and my gosh, if you're looking for a Pierschbacher jersey, how can you fit that on the back? I mean, when you custom order a Jets jersey on the website, they only let you do 10 characters. You're going to run out of space for a Mr. Pierschbacher. So who knows? I can't wait for all the Pierschbacher jerseys to come out as the seasons progress over here. It'd be interesting. Defense. Let's talk about the defense a little bit. Now, this was the first thing that I found interesting. Solomon Thomas is with the ones, like the Usos. We the ones. You know, I guess maybe they walk around doing the we the ones. You know. So I guess I have to acknowledge Solomon Thomas as a starting defensive tackle. If you're not watching WWE, you're like, what is this guy talking about right now? But that's fine. So John Franklin Myers, Carl Lawson, Quinn Williams, and Solomon Thomas are listed as the 4 starting defensive linemen. So that pushes. So if for anyone who thought that Solomon Thomas was a fringe player, well, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. He has a pretty good chance at getting a starting spot on this defensive line. And then behind that, you have Nathan Shepard, you have Sheldon Rankins, who I've made the point constantly over the last 6 months. I would cut him. I would save the $5.5 million. At this point, I cut him today, and I would use that money to sign Dwayne Brown, Give him that $5.5 million guaranteed. He wants $7 million. I tell you what, you know what, Dwayne? Here's $5.5 million guaranteed. With incentives, you can work your way up to $7 or even $8 million. I would absolutely do it because we have a lot of players who are like Sheldon Rankins, a defensive tackle who are focused on the pass rushing first, who, by the way, don't cost as much money as Sheldon Rankins does. He's a redundant player. That's the way I would phrase it. With all due respect to him as a person, seems like a good guy. He didn't give us the production last year that we were looking for. So to me, I would let Rankins go. You still have Solomon Thomas. I mean, I know that we're not Nathan Shepard fans. I don't know any Jets fan who wants Nathan Shepard, but he does not cost a whole lot of money. Again, the coaches love him. If you have him at the back of the rotation, I'll live with it. But it still gives a chance for Jonathan Marshall to play a little bit more. And what I like, it gives John Franklin Myers a chance to play inside, where he is more of a difference maker than he is when he plays on the edge. Also, Michael Clemens has been getting some reps at defensive tackle. Why not move Michael Clemens to defensive tackle? I'm here for it. I want to give him a chance. The coaches see it in him. They think his speed and power will translate to the defensive, the interior line. Great, let's do it. So, yeah, Solomon Thomas with the 1s, Vinny Curry with the 2s, and Bryce Huff and Jermaine Johnson with the 3s. Vinny Curry has been my dark horse cut candidate for a while. Now I'm not too sure about it. Maybe the coaching staff wants some defensive veteran leadership on the line, but I do not want to. Vinny Curry is not going to be here more than 1 year on the field. You know, he was here last year. Obviously, he had his medical situation. Thankfully, he's okay. But I don't see him being here more than a year. And I don't want to cut a young player with some really high upside like a Huff, Bryce Huff, like Bradley, and, well, Bradley and I not so much. But Bryce Huff, Michael Clemens, those two in particular, just to keep Vinny Curry for 1 year. I don't think that's good long-term planning because the Jets are not a win-now team. They are trying to build something that will last for years. So to me, if all things are equal, I would consider letting Vinny Curry go. But if he earns a spot, fantastic. So, yeah, and like JJ is just another rookie situation. He has to work his way up. I still have a lot of hope for Bryce Huff that he's going to be an impact player on this team. But again, you have more of an open spot for him if JFM and Michael Clemens are being used on the inside as opposed to the outside. And at linebacker, you've got Marcel Harris with the 1s at linebacker, with Quan Alexander behind him. I don't think that's going to last very long. From all accounts, Quan Alexander is making quite the impact at linebacker. And also, Jamian Sherwood is the second Mike linebacker behind C.J. Mosley. My prediction is this, and I said it with Harrison and Jeremy last night. This is going to be C.J. Mosley's last year as a Jet, and they are grooming. I used that word. They are grooming C.J. Mosley. After C.J. Mosley leaves, they are grooming Jamian Sherwood, to take over that role as the leader, as the hard hitter of that linebacking core. So that is something that we could be watching for. And if the Jets get a big-time starting middle linebacker, and they got him as late as they did in last year's draft, then that's a fantastic job by Joe Douglas. A couple other quick notes with the secondary. LaMarcus Joyner currently listed over Jason Pinnock. I think that's going to be a back and forth thing throughout. Will Parks has been looking really good. He's made a couple of interceptions. I think Will Parks has a good chance to make this team as a backup safety. Maybe he could unseat an Ashton Davis or somebody like that. And at cornerback, you have both Sauce Gardner and Bryce Hall basically listed as co-1s across from DJ Reed, who is currently dealing with a hamstring injury. So if DJ has to miss a little bit of time, I wonder if they would put Sauce on one side and Hall on the other side, because with this defense, we know they don't look at cornerback 1, cornerback 2 like it's easy for fans and the experts on the media side to do. They look at left corner, right corner. Are they open to using one of those cornerbacks and using them across from one another, or do they only think that Sauce Gardner and Bryce Hall can play one particular side of the field? Something that bears watching. Oh, and quick, I got to give you a kicker note, right? We got to give you some special teams love, right? So Eddie Pinheiro and Greg Zuerlein are also co-1 kickers right now. By the way, Zuerlein, I believe, in practice missed 2 field goals yesterday, and Pinheiro was making them. So that's also a back and forth competition. I love it because why should any kicker automatically have the job unless has a fly flies by? I'm getting some flies in this house. I got to get some good fly paper or something. I don't know what's going on around here. But when you live basically in the woods, when you got a bunch of trees all around you, that tends to happen. So Zuerlein and Pinheiro, I think that's going to come down to the absolute last days. Just something we got to keep watching for. And there's going to be a lot of tough cuts here. There really, really are. Also, I want to make one other note with Mekhi Becton. I don't expect him to play at all this season. If you get anything from him going forward, just count your lucky stars and get down on your knees and thank the Lord that you got something from him. But between Dwayne Brown, that is the guy. That is the guy to sign. I mean, outside of that, who are we looking at? Nate Solder, Brandon Shell, Eric Fisher. I've seen some reports about Tevin Jenkins from the Bears that the Bears are getting a little bit tired of him and his antics, that they're kind of moving him around. Here's my biggest thing with Tevin Jenkins. He had back surgery before he even came into the league, and he's working his way back now. He had more back issues in the offseason. Right now he's in the process of ramping up. That's what the Bears coaching staff is saying. Tevin is ramping up. And now I'm hearing, okay, let's trade Denzel Mims for him in a one-on-one trade. You don't see these types of trades happening all that often, player for player. They do happen, but it's not very common. But I am not interested in trading a healthy young asset in Denzel Mims, who's getting better and better. Okay, I know the Bears need a wide receiver. I know that. But I don't feel comfortable in making that trade for somebody who is dealing with back issues. This is not a shoulder. This is not a finger injury. You didn't get a hangnail or something. No. Your back controls everything, especially when you're an offensive lineman. Offensive linemen can play a long time, but if you've got a back issue, that's going to mess with you because everything is based off that part of your body. So I'm a little bit worried about Tevin Jenkins. And put it this way, if we're talking Jenkins for Mims, the Bears better throw in another draft pick to sweeten the pot a little bit. Because when you can sign another free agent and all it costs you is dollars, well, that's more enticing to me than trading for a guy whose attitude is under question. I'm not going to say he's a bad guy, but it's under question. Plus, that back problem just really gives me the oof. It just does not give me a good sign. Well, I'm sure today we're going to get the final results on what's going on with Becton, and then we're going to have to pivot accordingly. And hey, it's unbelievable. The Jets have a game this week. 3 days from now, the Jets are going to be playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe they'll beat them, because the only time the Jets seem to be able to beat Philadelphia is in the month of August. So let's see what happens, and shoot, let's see who starts at right tackle that day. I'm counting on Chuma Edoga. So, well, I hope you like what you saw today. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. We're getting close to 100 subscribers. We're going to keep on trying to grow this channel as much as we can. Trying to add some new features to it. Just if you have any ideas, if there's anything you want to hear me talk about, let me know. And check me out with Jeremy with Jets Chaos on Wednesday, with Green Bean on Thursday. And you never know what show we might pop into. So I will see you back here from you know where, Wicker Chair.